Welcome to another episode of Walk with Elias. I'm your host, Elias J. Williams. It's with two L's. And today is story time. I'm going to tell you about the time that I fumbled the bag with my high school crush. Now, if you find value in the content that is discussed here, please like, subscribe, share, and for this particular episode, comment because I'd like some responses in the comment section. See if you can see where I went wrong, the things that I did right, because there were a few things that I did correct that got me to this point. You can follow me on Twitter at Elias J. Williams, or you can add me on IG, walk underscore with underscore Elias. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to call this Tales from the Simp Side, High School Crushed. So a little backstory on this. So I can remember being in like third, fourth grade and having like this crush on this girl, and going on field trips and hoping that the teacher would sit me next to her on the boat ride. And I'm saying, but there was always like this tension between us, like this kind of like and dislike, thing going on. So I can remember her being like, "Oh, I can't stand you, Elias." And back then, I was so easily hurt as a kid, so soft-hearted that I would take things to heart, and so stuff like that would make it even harder for me to ever actually go up and talk to her, which I never did. Now, granted, things that I know now, I just be like, "Whatever, girl, stop playing." But then I'm like, she really don't like me, so never actually go up and talk to her. And we go on to graduate. She goes on to make a name for herself. And, I'm always kind of just sitting in the background, like just eyeballing her. Right. So we maybe come across each other like 4 or 5 times over the years between like graduating and, late 20s, mid 20s. So recently, class gets together and, we out. And so I see her, I hug everybody, we go in, and later on that night she ends up at the bar, right? So I walk over to the bar because I'm getting ready to order some food, and I think she was waiting on the bartender to come up, and I just got the guy's attention. So after getting his attention, I asked her what she was drinking, and I got her a drink, and then I, dipped off after that. So the rest of that night, I unknowingly kept space between us. So like I was talking to other people, or there was an empty spot sitting next to her, and I went sat somewhere else. Um, and unknowingly that was creating like tension, right? I was creating like a good tension. But anyway, rest of the night goes on. End of the night comes, and we go to take pictures, right? So we get together, we take the picture. Night ends, I go home. So I'm chilling. So I'm going through my phone, and apparently, when I was trying to hand my phone to somebody to get the picture, some kind of way, like there were these off guard shots of her in the picture. I guess she was like standing behind me at the time. So a couple of days pass, and my dad ends up asking me like, "Yo, like, how did things go?" So I'm like, "Well, shit, we hung out, we took some pictures," and so I showed him the picture, and so he's like, "I said, oh, girl got a hand on you in the picture, huh?" And I was like, huh? So I go back and look at the picture, and sure enough, she's got her hand on me in the picture. So my wheels start turning. Well, shit, there's no reason to be touching me unless you want to touch me. So other people end up noticing this shit. I'm starting to get like geeked up, like Fable and them. And I eventually decided I'm gonna jump in her inbox. So I slide in there real smooth. And I'm like, yo, do you know that I ended up taking the picture and sending her the picture, the off guard? I'm like, yo, do you know this girl? Because I think she kind of cute. And she giggled and she's like, obviously I was drunk. So I, chuckled about it. I was like, look, I would like to do that with you. I would like to do that again, but just me and you. And so I ended up asking her what's her favorite restaurant. And she's like, I can go anywhere. Right? She's like, I can go to any place and get something to eat. So I don't really have a favorite. My ignorant ass, like, cool, J Alexander, 8 o'clock. Now, I done went and looked through and found the most expensive fucking restaurant there is. And she didn't really say nothing after that. So I was like, we'll do J. Alexander 8 Saturday or whatever. So during this meantime, like I'm like happy, right? I'm throughout the week, I'm elated. Tell my partner, like, I done finally got on pop locking and shit. In the fucking room, and I done hit my auntie up, and my auntie has expensive taste. So I was asking her about J. Alexander's, and she's like, yeah, if you going on a date, like that's immaculate. That's the spot to go. So I go ahead and I make the reservation. So after I make the reservation, I send her a text, right? Of the reservation. And I'm like, yeah, I always had this thing where, I wanted to tell my girl, like, hey, we going out somewhere nice, put some clothes on. And girl immediately responded back like, I can't make it. Immediately. So I'm kind of hurt about. So I was like, well, damn, I was looking forward to it. So I ain't really say nothing else after that. So like 5-6 days passed or so, and I'm like, yo, I would still like to take you out. And she was like, okay, cool. So I didn't say nothing again. Maybe another couple of days passed, and I ended up hitting her like, what's your schedule looking like? And she didn't respond at all. So I waited like another week, and I was like, man, you know what? You always out here trying to pretend you don't like me, and I know you like me. Like, chill out. I guess I just catch you at the next event. And she was like, huh? And I just didn't say nothing else after that. So I think that moment of cocky might have worked. Because later on, I ended up seeing at the event, and at one point I had to like make my way through a crowd. And so I grabbed her by her waist and moved her to the side, and she just looked at me and gave me a little slight smile. And then later on that night, when I couldn't find the group, she asked me where I was at. I was sending through the group chat. She asked me where I was at. She came and got me and dragged me over there to him. And that was like the extent of it. I never asked her out again after that because I think my pride was so hurt. But I, until now, did not realize all the fucking missteps I was making. Like I was way putting shit on the pedestal. I was too excited throughout the week. Like she was just mad funny. So yeah, that's the time I completely fumbled the bag, bricked the layup, missed the base hit, all that shit. Like it was so up there for me on a silver platter. Like she was clearly into me. Um and I just completely, misstep. So again, drop some comments in the section. Tell me what I did wrong. Tell me a few things that I actually did right. Because there were some things that I did right to actually get me to the point where I could take her out. I just fucked it up. Follow me on Twitter at Elias J. Williams. Or add me on IG, walk_with_Elias. I love you today. I'll be here tomorrow.